What up? Welcome back to Andrew Games On! And first off, I want to thank you guys for being so awesome last week with all the great comments and ratings and all that. So dope fresh. And I'm trying to make this channel one of the biggest gaming channels on the tubes. And I couldn't be anywhere without all you guys. So I want to thank you for coming back every Monday and checking this channel out, listening to my military stories. And I will be eventually bringing on my friends to tell their military stories, because I have a lot of friends that were in the service. They have some great stories I've heard. So help me out, hit the thumbs up button. Let's get this video popular and let's jump into these stories. So I left you last week and I talked about how I got jumped in Germany. Here's a picture. I know I forgot to show you that last week, so I'm sorry. Yeah, my eye was pretty muffed up for a while. And now the funny thing is, remember I told you a couple downrange gaming videos ago, I punched some dude in a club and now I got jumped outside of a club. Well, not outside the same club, but it was all at the same club that both of these situations took place. It was almost like karma came back and kicked me in my ass for punching that one kid. Karma came back and got me. So karma's a bitch. So I'm gonna talk about how I got deployed to Kuwait while I was in Germany. And basically what happens when I went through all that drama with the ex-wife and fighting and all this, the military just decided to just get my ass out of Germany for 6 months and send me off to Kuwait. And this was right during Operation Iraqi Freedom, so we're in the Iraqi war right now. But the base I went to wasn't very bad at all. It was actually good. Damn, I just blew all those cars up from a couple shots. So it wasn't. It was pretty easy base. I wasn't prepared for the heat though. Like I remember when we flew in, we got there, we get off the plane. It's like midnight, and it felt like I walked into an oven. I think we got there in the summertime. When did we go? No, I think we went to September. It was September we went out there. And I just remember getting off the plane. It felt like I walked into an oven. It was so hot. I have all my gear on, my uniform. I'm like, whoa. This is at midnight. I'm like, how am I going to even get used to this, even during the day? So we get out there, like every deployment, as far as I know, in security forces, in the Air Force, you got to go out there and relieve the guys that are out there. So we got to like take over for the security forces guys that are out there, and they're from multiple different bases. We basically came all from Germany because we had a big base, and so you can't start working right away. You got to get, you know, trained and taught and everything. So they didn't have anywhere for us to sleep when you get there, so they just stuffed us in this big 30-man tent with cots. It was terrible. You had to walk like pretty far just to go use the bathroom. I actually have a picture here. Check it out. This was actually 60 of us in there. There wasn't 30. It's a 30-man tent, but 60 of us in there. We were piled in there. It was miserable. Everybody was in there, from our senior master sergeant to an airman first class. And you can see some of the linen is like, I had pink sheets because that, like, they had like covers and blankets that were donated, so they had that for us. We used that for our cots, and some of us had some of the stuff we deployed with, like some of the military fatigue blankets and such. But yeah, it was miserable in that 60-man tent or 30-man tent with 60 of us. And I think we stayed in there for about 2 weeks. I know my socks look real corny all pulled up like that. I think that was, you had to have your socks pulled up for some reason, maybe because of the bugs or something. I forget. But this was back before you had to wear your physical training gear when you're off duty. Because now if you get deployed, whenever you're off duty, you have to wear PT gear or your uniform. But then you could wear anything. And I was just wearing some basketball shorts and my BDU shirt. So I was out, we were in that big tent for about, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks, until we finally relieved the other team that was out there. So I remember one of the days, like, we're getting our jobs and what flight we're going to and what hours we're going to be working for the whole 6 months we're out there. And I'm sitting in the back of the room, you know, and my last name's with a W, so they're going to probably get to me last. And they're reading everybody off, like, Johnson, Delta flight, so-and-so, Charlie flight, da-da-da-da-da. And there was a couple of, like, really cool jobs, like armor. And there's probably, like, 2 people that could be in the armory. And you get the Wellens Armory. Every single person in the room, like all the people I deployed with, turned around and gave me the dirtiest look. I didn't apply to be an armor. I just got lucky, and they gave me the armory job. And the reason they were so mad is, like, I get to hang out in the air condition all day and just pass out guns. Like, the rest of the guys were standing on the gates, just outside, you know, just doing terrible, terrible work. they're just for hours. I'm just gonna be chilling in the armory, passing out guns like every couple of hours, you know. So I got a lot of hate, and I'm just sitting there like in my mind like ecstatic, like yes, I was so happy. And my flight commander, I don't know if you guys remember when I talked about when I punched that guy, and my flight commander, she was a female. She really didn't like me. She hated me actually. She was a first or second lieutenant, and I know that she was coming out there. Like she didn't get out there yet, but she was coming out on this team, so she would have been like the squadron commander at that time, you know, when she gets out there. And I'm like, oh my God, when Lieutenant Birdo gets out here, she's probably going to take me out of the armory because she doesn't like me and give me a really shitty job. And she got out there and she didn't care. She didn't care I was in the armory. She was cool. I was like, cool. And the real funny thing about this story is now a staff sergeant got assigned to the armory, and that means he's going to be my supervisor. And guess who the staff sergeant happens to be in the armory with? There's only 4 people in the armory, so we're real close quarters with each other. It's the staff sergeant that I cursed out the night that I got in that fight, and my ex-wife, you know, was there, and it was her supervisor. He is my supervisor in the armory. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to kick me out of the army. And the first thing I said to him was like, look, I'm so sorry that happened. I hope that's all behind us, blah, blah, blah. I basically kissed his ass. He was like, no, it's cool. It's totally cool. So I just thought that's one big reason in the military never to burn bridges ever. So there was another cool job you could do out there as security forces. There was about 6 guys that did it. They would basically deploy on the outside of the base, about 5 kilometers out. Nobody could be within 3 kilometers. You had to be in full battle rattle. That means like Kevlar helmet, the whole 9. And I was bored being in the army. I was like, let me go. So I volunteered on my day off to go patrol with them. So we're patrolling the outside of the base, and there's a gang of sheep like within the 3 kilometers, and these guys been doing the job for a while, so they know everything. And they're like, there's probably somebody in there. We got to tell them to leave, you know. So they start driving really fast towards the sheep, like they're gonna run them over. And I'm like, yo, whoa, what are you guys doing? They're like, no, just watch. And they're just flying towards the sheep now. And all of a sudden, this guy just stands up. This Kuwaiti guy stands up in the middle of the sheep and just stands there like, whoa. He was like hiding in the sheep. Like he wasn't out there doing anything shady. He was just bringing the sheep closer to the base because there's some grass. The guy was willing to risk his life for his sheep, which was kind of crazy. And I remember how we just stopped and talked to him. Well, he didn't speak any English, but we were basically telling him that he has to be 5 kilometers away from the base at least. And he had like a donkey, and I asked him if I could sit on his donkey. I like gave him like some food, like a banana or something I had. He was like, yeah. He basically said, yeah, I sat on his donkey and took a funny picture. I have the picture somewhere. I would have to look for it. But thanks for watching. See you guys next week. Peace!